Boys, welcome back. I know this video took a while to make, but I was at 32,000 total build rate just a couple days ago, and I wanted to get that a little bit higher for you guys. So I did want to put in just a little bit, more work. It took a little bit longer, but I was able to get that up to 137,000 an hour, which, that's a 4-time increase. And I just like to bring you guys, the best that I can. So I wanted to take that time in the front. That way, I could actually give you guys something that's actually worthwhile for you to watch. But this video is going to be long as it is, so let's get into it. Alright boys, so today we're going to be talking about construction. So construction, it is a World 3 skill, and it's probably the first thing, if I can remember, far enough back, that gave me a little bit of problems. Like I just couldn't wrap my head around it at first. So I'm going to go over an overview and then show the cog board after. So the first thing that we have here, these are the build slots. So this first one, the 3D printer, is probably the most important building that you can build. So I would 100% recommend building this first. Obviously, since it is the first one, it's going to be easier to do, but I would say out of everything that you can possibly unlock, this one is going to be the most important, so definitely maximize it. Second building you're going to unlock is the talent book library. Essentially, it is a way to upgrade your skills to get past that level 100 mark. And as you can see at level 37, the bonus that you get from leveling this building up is a % faster checkout refresh speed. So that just helps with, flushing the build out just a little bit more. The third one, and probably the second most important building, is going to be the Death Note. What it does when you level it up, it is going to give you an increase in your % multi-kill bonus, which is huge, especially if you want to get something, the bigger samples. Fourth building is going to be the Salt Lick. The Salt Lick, essentially, as you level it up, it's going to unlock different bonuses that you can then put different materials into, and I've referenced this in the other videos. So the bonuses can be from samples taken to obel storage, % refinery speed, % class and skill XP. Bottom one, super important for builds, max level for talent books, liquid rate and capacity for all liquids in alchemy, points earned during worship tower defense from killing the monsters, movement speed if under 170%, huge one, which is the 9th unlock, that's 15% multi-kill rate for all worlds, and then the last one is just a kind of a nice bonus, but an increase to bonus damage. The fifth one is going to be the chest space. From leveling it up, you're just getting more storage chest slots and 42 more storage chest slots. So this is just all around making your storage just a little bit better. Then we have the cost cruncher. From leveling this up, it's the resource cost of upgrading the different buildings. Doesn't affect the building phase cost. So at my level 31, which is about halfway there, that's a minus 10% resource cost, on top of another 30% more resource cost. Alright, Trapper Drone at level 6, what that does is allows you to collect and delete traps as well as set traps from one focal point, which will be World 3. So right up here, you can see it. This is the Trapper Drone. That way you don't have to leave World 3 if you're wanting to reset traps or delete traps. And the automation arm, I would say that this is also probably one of the most important. I'd put it behind the 3D printer, I put it behind the Death Note, but this would probably be the third most important, especially for progression, especially when you're just starting. The second unlock, the nutrient neural network. So while you're gone, any food or potions will automatically restock as long as you have that food in the storage, and that essentially will get you that 100% survival rate at 100 all times. I personally don't use the forge conveyor belt or the book reservation system. Can't tell you why I don't use this one. I just don't. I like manually switching things over. And for the book reservation system, I'm still trying to get the 1,000 books, so I haven't used it. The miniature soul apparatus, absolutely huge right here if you didn't know. Once you unlock that in World 3, you can pray to all the souls that you have unlocked. And then you have the anvil production pipeline. It's, if lava buffs it, it might be something that's worth writing home about. Essentially all it does now is during reset, from what I understand, it just deposits what you already had in the on the anvil, so you know it's not huge. And then last, coming soon, probably something that's going to be coming in World 5, but don't have anything on it right now. I just wanted to get to the end of the row, that way you guys could see what it is. Alright, now we're going to go into towers. Everyone should have Pulse Mage. Essentially, this is just a single target tower. It's, you know, it's nothing crazy, nothing to write home about. Your first look at AoE is going to come from your second tower, which is the Fireball Lobber. Fireball Lobber, from my understanding before I even started playing the game, was, you know, the main tower to use. But I do believe all of the strategies that are now out are going to revolve around specifically, you know, 4 towers, which are these 4 right here in the middle. So that's going to be your Boulder Roller, which is going to be your main AoE. Your Frozone Malone, which is your 4th tower. That's essentially a freezing tower to make the mobs move slower. Stormcaller, your main single target damage. And everyone's favorite, the Party Starter. So Party Starter just increases either the damage by 15% per level up to all the towers on the map, or an increase of 25% speed. So I am getting there, level 32, 25 out of 50, 26 out of 50, and 19 out of 50 respectively. That's going to help us be able to push, you know, just a little bit harder in that tower defense, because I am bad at it. Then we have the Kraken Cosplayer. It does minimal damage, but what it does is the eyeballs that come out of the Kraken Cosplayer, it will knock back mobs, kind of like the kick from the Archer and, you know, the Archer class. And then, you know, what is that, Poisionic Elder. It's essentially a tower that shoots those same, you know, vials that the Bubo has, and it is good for hitting, you know, AoE, for hitting large crowds of mobs. But at my level of 3 out of 50, it's, you know, just outclassed by the Boulder Roller. And then last but not least, you have the Voidinator. It's going to end up taking 6k salts with a 6k, as of now, builds, you know, what it's going to cost to build it. So we don't know what it is. Coming soon, so probably World 5, but apparently it's so good it's going to make all other Tower Wizard pointless. Alright, last but not least, the shrines. I did want to unlock the last shrine, so it did take me a little bit longer to make the video. But now I can go over what all of the shrines are, what they do. So let's get into it. So first one you unlock, Woodruler Shrine. Fantastic. Increases damage by 1%. Absolutely useful. This is going to increase your max HP, total defense. And probably the most important, I'd say that this is the most important tower, and then followed by the damage, to actively be able to progress World 3 and then into World 4, and then progress through World 4, Issachin Shrine, and then your Woodruler Shrine. It also has the hidden purpose of increasing your HP, which also increases your mining proficiency if you have that bubble in alchemy. The Crystal Shrine just makes all the other shrines level up a little bit faster. Pantheon increases your carry capacity. Your Clover Shrine, which increases the drop rate of all characters on the same map. If you have the unlock from World 4 Lab, if you put this into a town, all characters on all of the same, you know, the same map, so everyone in World 4 will get that bonus. So this is good if you're pushing multiple characters on different sets of the same map. Then you have the Summer Reading Shrine, super easy. It's going to increase XP gain for all characters on the same map. The Crescent Shrine, really good. I would put this one behind the other two, the Woodruler and the Issachin. This is fantastic, and I do need to build it up just a little bit more. But this is how you're getting those insane, you know, gains on your Bubo, insane gains on your Maestro, because it's cutting down what your crystal spawn chance is going to be. And I just recently broke 1 in 14, so I can spawn a crystal 1 in 14 mob kills. Undead Shrine, respawn rate, super useful. And then the Primordial Shrine, it sounds great because it increases the AFK gain rate of all characters on the same map. But having just unlocked it, mine, you know, it increases it by 1%. So not really a huge increase, but it is better than nothing, right? Alright, boys. Now we're going to jump into the gym shop. And I have to say that the World 3 gym shop is probably the most prolific cash grab I've ever seen. Just from sheer amount of cost per upgrade, it scales exponentially. But I did have quite a bit of money left over from the iOS event, so I did go ahead and I bought everything for this video, just so I can show you, if you do buy this, this is, you know, what you can expect from it. Okay, So going into the first one, and probably the only important one, and you can't see me, but I'm doing finger quotations, is the Crystal 3D printer. If we are talking in terms of actually important to have, this one is S tier, S plus tier, the tier above S tier, because it allows you to go into your 3D printer and now you can print 2 samples at the same time as opposed to 1. So you can see here I can get 191,000 potty rolls and 451,000 whatever jungle logs at the same time. Where if you had not bought this, you would only have one of these slots open at the the same time. So in terms of what's actually important to buy, I would say that the Crystal 3D printer, 100%. If you do unlock it, get the gems. It's 875 gems, so not crazy. I would say that's probably the most important. All right, going into the other unlocks, you have more sample spaces. Kind of important. It's more of a quality of life improvement. It essentially unlocks more slots for you to be able to put samples in. That way you don't have to resample as much at max capacity. It unlocks these last 3 slots, so you have 5 to choose from. Going back into it, you're looking at burning bad books. It's kind of nice. Again, quality of life improvement. So it's +5 to the minimum level of the books for each one, so that's +20 once you bought all 4. So if you're trying to min-max your character, sure, this is important, but I wouldn't say it's really a necessity, because you can just push the max and then you will rely on RNG to be able to get the better books. But I mean, it is your money, you guys will do what you want. I just don't see it as being integral to having a good character. Prayer slots, not super important. I haven't seen any builds that require you to have more than, maybe the, let me pull it up here real quick, more than the skilled dimwit or the royal sampler, which, I mean, that's only 2, and those are more or less the only 2 I use. I bought 3 and then I just stopped because it wasn't really doing anything for me. And then Zen cogs, these I will go into once we get to the cog board. This is the most expensive portion of it. I think to max it out was something around 5,000 gems, probably more than that, but this is the most expensive. You essentially get yin and yang cogs, and I'll show you that again once we get to the cog board. But this is where the prolific cash grab comes into play. Tower building slots, it unlocks 4 plus 4 slots. So when we come in here, these last 4 slots you won't have. This is from the gym shop, and essentially that build rate that you see here affects everything that you have on this row. So essentially, you're multiplying by 4 what your build rate is, because now you can do that build rate onto 4 different things at the same time. So is that nice? Sure. Especially if you're pushing near the end where you have all the materials, you're just trying to build as many things as possible. It is nice, but it is very expensive as well. And last but not least, fluorescent flaggies. I did buy all 6 of them. Each purchase boosts the flaggy rate by 50%. So if you buy all 6, that's going to be a 300% increase. That just unlocks the board faster, which again we will go over in just a second. So that's quite a bit of gems to throw at a World 3 skill. Again, I am not a major pusher of spending real world money on a video game, but if you do have the funds, or if you do have the gems, you got super lucky and got the 10 grand gem drop from the iOS event, it will boost your account. But other than the Crystal 3D printer, I don't think they are that important. Alright boys, so now we are going to go into the COG UI. So this is probably the part that's going to give you a little bit of trouble when you first come to World 3, because you're going to be looking at it going like, oh geez, what the hell is this? So when you first come in here on the left hand side, all these slots on the left is your COG inventory space. So this is where you're going to have that room to be able to put the COGs. Going into the second portion, this is going to be your COG shelf. So when you open it, you're going to be able to see that there's going to be 4 different levels of COGs. You're going to have newbie COGs, decent COGs, superb COGs, and ultimate COGs, requiring, what is that? I believe level 1. This will be level 15 plus, level 40 plus, and I think this was level 70 plus. So essentially, when you're leveling something up, you'll see that at the first level, It takes 30 to build a cog. And as you can see quite quickly, it went up to 60. And once we hit 60, what it's going to do is going to double again. So every cog that you get is going to double the multiplier. So after we get this 120, it's going to go up to 240. So that's where, you know, it behooves you to check your cogs as often as possible, because once you get into like 5, 6, 7 cogs waiting for you, that's where the numbers, you know, they start to get just a little bit insane. Now, a word of not necessarily warning, but just because a cog is newbie or decent or superb, it doesn't necessarily mean that it is going to be worse than, you know, a cog before it. So cogs, when they are rolled, are based off of, and this is just from me reading the wiki, on your highest character. So for ours, it'd be a level 91 miner, and what their build rate is. So let me take this into an example format. So here we go, perfect. So this newbie average cog, right, which you can unlock at level 1, is higher than this decent cog, which would take you to level 15. And then we have this one, which is an ulti cog, which is an ultimate cog all the way here at level 70, and it still has less build rate than this newbie average cog. So those don't, the numbers don't correlate, right? Regardless of what cog you're opening, sure, the ultimate cogs have a lower base chance to get higher stats, but that's not an absolute. You can still get decent cogs from newbie, decent, superb, all the way up to ultimate. So I'm going to close the cog shelf, let those guys get back to work, and I'm going to click on the next UI button. This is the toggle button. So what this does is it allows you to take a snapshot of your board and see exactly where everything is being allocated, right? So when I click on build, this is showing all of my cogs and how they are contributing to that build rate. Next is going to be the flaggy. This is going to show everybody on my board and how they're contributing to the flaggy rate an hour. And last, it's going to be XP, and this is showing how these cogs are boosting XP an hour. So I'll click on this one. So this superb trips cog is giving 275 build rate, 47 flaggy, and 15% bonus construct XP, essentially allowing your characters to level up just a little bit faster. So with that being said, I'm going to click on this cog again. So cogs have a chance to roll, and they can be many different things, but they primarily will have a build rate, a flaggy rate, a bonus construct XP, or there's a chance for them to also roll a bonus, I'll call it a multiplier. I don't have a better word for it. And those can be in the form of a row, a column. So essentially this will boost the entire row. This one will boost the entire column. There's also an ulti cog that will hit all 4 corners. And I believe there are also area multipliers, but I don't believe that I actually have one. So those will boost a certain area. I can use this one as an example. So when I move it, you can see that it is boosting this entire area. So these are the cogs I was telling you about before, where you have the yin and the yang. If you put 4 yin cogs together like this, you make Excogia, which is a pretty huge boon to your build rate, flaggy rate, and bonus construct XP. And its perk is it does a 5% build rate to the entire map. So with both of them, essentially what you're looking at is a 10% flat increase to the build rate of everything. And then the yang cogs, they have a pretty decent bonus to build rate, flaggy rate, and they're essentially boosting up the Excogia. And then right next to it, you're going to see a flags placed button. When you click this on, you're going to be able to place these flags. Now, when you first come into the game, the numbers are going to be quite a bit lower than they are for me. But do be warned that not every slot is the same, right? Don't just click on a slot and lay down a flag, because you're going to be sitting there for a hot minute, right? So as you can see, this one takes 17.5 million to level up. This one takes 50 million. The corners are 250 million. And then if I come down here, this one goes back down to 17.5, 50, 50, 250, and then 17.5. So as you go down and out towards the corners, the price to unlock that specific slot is going to increase exponentially. So as you can see, I'm unlocking these slots right here, these slots right here, and then I'm going to do the exact same on both of these and both of these. And these will be my last, 4 17.5 millions until I go into the 50 millions, which are the corners next to the last corner right there. As far as optimization, I am not the best player at this, so I'm actually going to link in a comment below a video that you guys should see if you're really interested in just optimizing the board. But I don't think I'm at a good enough point just yet to be able to show that to you, just because I haven't unlocked all the obols that I needed or anything like that. So I will link a link to this guy that I watched yesterday, and his video is absolutely insane, and he's pulling something crazy like 750,000 total build rate an hour. And if you guys are interested in watching this video just to get an understanding of construction, and then going to his video to really get into the optimization, that's something I would absolutely recommend. Alright boys, we're going to go over to the post office. The construction skill does have a box. It is called the construction container, and essentially at level 400 what it's going to give you is a 100% base build rate. So this is really good for your divine knight or your squire. A 49% shrine charge rate, so essentially that's just leveling up your shrines a little bit faster. And the big one, 150% construction XP, so it does increase your construction XP, which means you level up faster, which means you get higher base build rate. Alright, so now we're over into alchemy. A large bubble for construction is warrior's rule, because all orange passive bubbles, which are the small size one, give a X higher bonus to your warrior base classes, which is our squire. And then there are quite a few bubbles that apply into construction. So first one is going to be the large bubble, which is Call Me Bob. Mine is quite a bit lower than a lot of other people's that I see, and that is something I do need to level up. But at level 49, that's giving us 148% construction XP gain, which, as you can see, I'm trying to put that on a couple of the characters that are lagging behind as far as construction. And then Carpenter, which is why that that second bubble, Warrior's Rule, if I go back to it, it's giving a almost 1% build speed per construction level. So this is again another one. The salts are getting kind of expensive that I do need to level up. And then you're going to look at the Buff Boy talent. That's extra talent points for each tab, but it's just for warriors. Don't tell the other classes. This is so that you can flush out the rest of the talent points for the build that I'm about to go over. Alright, we're going to jump into cards. There's one card that will apply to construction, and that is just base Chiswar. At max level, it's going to give you a 40% cog build speed, which is passive, so once you do unlock it, you do get it to that level. That's just going to give you a base 40% cog build speed to all characters, so that's not something you have to worry about. So I do recommend pushing that just so you can get that board filled out initially with as many cogs as you need, and then towards the end of the game, obviously trying to maximize the good cogs. This is going to come in handy for you. Alright boys, very quickly we're going to go through stamps, and then we're going to come over here to statues. So there's the Saw stamp, which is going to give you a flat times level construction XP gain. And then coming right over to this golden boy, we're going to go down to all the way down to the seesaw. So at level 10, that's giving us 5% construction XP. They're two mild but still kind of important ways that you can just passively increase your construction XP gain. Alright, over in the Vial tab, you're going to have a couple different options. You're going to have the Bubonic Burp, that's from Rats. Leveling that up is going to give you more cog inventory spaces. Visible Ink, which is from the pins over on Signature Slope World 3. That's going to give you a % construction XP gain increase. And then you're going to have Sippy Cup, which is going to give a % on level construction production cog production speed. Alright boys, we're going to go into talents. I did tweak my build a little bit more. I was able to get just a couple thousand more total build rate. So going into the talents, the first tab is not going to be anything crazy. You're trying to find that good balance between having a good miner and a good construction squire, or in my case, divine knight. If you've already taken all the samples that you want for the 3D printer, you can do what I'm doing now, which I don't plan on resampling, at least not for a while. So I did take the points out of the health, put it into tempestuous emotions. This is where you're going to get the XP gain for all specialized skill, which is, in our case, that's going to be construction. Since this is for construction, you don't need to worry about the other skills that I do have points into. Brute efficiency is important. This is the basis of the construction. Refinery throttle at level 132, that's given us 19 refinery cycles. Redox rate's probably the most important. That's a plus 28% build speed per power of 10 redox salts in your storage chest. Since I only have 12.2 thousand, it's a moderate increase, but that number can obviously become bigger as I'm able to store up more sharper saws based on level. So each level, that's a 1% construction XP gain. And then you can have your super samples on the side, just if you need to go out and get another smaller sample somewhere else. All right, boys, I think that's going to do it for us today. We're breaking, almost half an hour here. I don't want to make the video any longer than it needs to be, just because I know that longer videos a little bit harder to watch. So I'm going to cut it off here. Hopefully this video does help you. Was hesitant to make it just because it's not one of my fortes in this game. Same with Alchemy. But hopefully there is a little bit of knowledge in here for you guys to be able to gain and go out there and be able to, make your account as good as it possibly can be. But that's going to do it for me today, boys. Again, hopefully you enjoyed, and I'll catch you in the next one.